I'd like to call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order, please. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, tonight led by Ryan Larson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
You'll stay right up front. Councilman Londo will be down to talk to you for a minute.
Thank you, Ryan Larson, for coming in and leading us with the Pledge of Allegiance today. I asked you in the hallway here if you've been to City Hall before. Is this your first time? What do you think of it?
It's really nice.
Really nice. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming out and leading us in the pledge. Ryan is 11 years old, and he lives in Westland with his mom, Pam, dad, Eric, sister, Sarah, and his 2 cats. What are your cats' names?
Boots and Daisy.
Boots and Daisy. I like it. Ryan attends John Marshall Upper Elementary School, and he'll be entering 6th grade in the fall. He is a responsible student and kind and caring friend. Ryan is proud of the fact he was on the honor roll all year in the 5th grade. How about a round of applause for that? He was also nominated most friendliest by his classmates. Ryan loves hockey. He's been playing hockey since he was 4 years old. What position do you play?
Defense.
Defense. Oh, we got a left winger, Mayor? Right winger? Right winger. We got a right winger up there if you want to play against the mayor one time. He currently plays for the 07 Livonia Knights. When Ryan isn't playing hockey, he loves to go fishing with his Papa Paul, golf with his Papa Tim, play with his friends, and go on vacation with his family. Are you going anywhere for the holiday weekend?
No, not this one.
Dad, Mom, what the heck? I'm teasing you. Putting you on the spot. Couple weeks? All right, perfect. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. On behalf of the mayor, the city clerk, and the city council, we have a certificate for you. And if the parents and is that your sister with you? You guys want to come up and say a few words and take a picture? Everything was pretty much spelled out for you? Yes. All right, well, we'll go ahead and take a picture and we'll get you out here so you can enjoy this weather, okay? Thank you again, Ryan.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green. Present. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Hammonds. Here. Councilman Herzberg. Here. Councilman Johnson. Here. Councilman Londo. Here. President Godbout.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Begin with announcements and presentations. Don?
Thank you, Mr. President, City Council, Mayor. Once again, I'm here to announce that the July 14th All-American Cruise is coming to town. We've got a lot of great stuff going on. Drive-in movie at the Westland Bowl this year will be Back to the Future. It's free to everybody. There's no charge for any of the events. We've got a lot of stuff going on at the Westland Historic Village. We've got different groups coming in, including the group from Holly that does every year their reenactors with the Knights and Round Table and everything. They're going to be there passing out free, or not free, but discounted tickets for the Renaissance Festival. We got stuff going on just about all the way up and down Wayne Road, starting at Joy Road all the way to Glenwood. So come on out and have fun. July 14th, cars start arriving at 6 a.m. And I know Remax Cornerstone has got a great thing coming in. We'll leave that up as a surprise, but something everybody's going to want to watch the Facebook page and see what's coming up. Be a lot of fun, and hope everybody can come out and enjoy the day. And bring your chairs out and sit along Wayne Road and watch the crews go by. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. We'll move on to citizens' questions or input on the agenda. Citizens will be recognized before the business of the meeting commences to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Citizens are asked to limit their questions or input to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments on the agenda and move on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All right, roll call, please. Councilwoman Green. Present. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Johnson. Here. Councilman Londo. Here. President Godbout.
All right, perfect. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. On behalf of the mayor, the city council, we have a certificate for you. And if the parents and your
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Councilman Hammonds?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to remove item Q from the consent calendar and make it 1A, new business, please.
The maker and supporter of the motion. Okay with that? So Q will become 1A. Are there any other questions from the council? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Minutes of the regular meeting held June 18, 2018. Request from John Glenn High School to hold their homecoming parade on Friday, September 28, 2018, beginning at Stottlemyre School, proceeding west on Marquette to John Glenn High School from 5:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. Request from the Westland Shopping Center, 35,000 West Warren Road, to host a special event featuring a free concert in the east parking lot of the shopping mall near Ashley's Bar and Grill on Saturday, August 11, from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. with contingencies. Approval of bid for bullet-resistant vests for the police department. Administration recommended the low bidder on-duty gear in the amount of $27,650. Approval of purchase of a 2018 Ford Transit wagon for the Youth Assistance Program. Amount $36,295. Approval of purchase of 2018 Ford Transit van for the Department of Cable. Amount $29,883. Approval of purchase of 3 police interceptor vehicles for the police department. Amount $97,166. Approval of purchase of 2018 Mack LEU chassis refuse truck for the Department of Public Service. Amount $286,930. Approval of purchase of 2 Freightliner single-axle 64,000 GVW chassis for the Department of Public Service. Amount $180,114. Approval of purchase of Freightliner chassis for the Versa lift truck for the Department of Public Service. Amount $81,084. Approval of outfitting of a Freightliner chassis for the Department of Public Service. Amount $99,769. Approval to furnish and install an 18-foot Utilimaster walk-in body package on a Freightliner MT55 chassis for the Department of Public Service. Amount $162,689. Approval of outfitting of 2 Freightliner single-axle chassis for the Department of Public Service. Amount $99,350. Approval to furnish and install a telescopic crane on a 2019 Ford F-550 XL Super Cab for the Department of Public Service. Amount $123,491. Approval of agreement between the City of Westland and Motorola Solutions regarding police radio equipment. Total cost of the agreement shall not exceed $253,217.26 and authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city. Approval of agreement between the City of Westland and Axon Enterprise Incorporated regarding police body camera equipment. Total cost of the agreement shall not exceed $493,817.16 with a first-year payment of $99,418.32 and authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city. Item Q has been postponed. Item 1A will be considered as 1A, rather. Last item approved on the consent calendar today, adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the City of Westland to apply for a 2-day liquor license from the state of Michigan to be able to sell beer and wine at the annual Blues, Brews, and Barbecue event on August 3 and August 4, 2018. Moving on to new business, item 1A, approval of developer agreement to administer the city redevelopment program to redevelop and sell tax foreclosed properties to home buyers. Administration recommends Realty Transition and National Faith Home Buyers to manage the program. The mayor and city clerk will sign the developer agreement, and the community development director will sign all other related documents.
Motion by Councilman Johnson. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Councilman Hammonds?
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to the administration, can we just kind of get a breakdown of how the program's going to work and how it's going to be facilitated? And then also, will there be any revenue coming back to the city?
Joanne, did you want to?
Yes, thank you through the council president. This program will work with the two developers working as partners with the city. And they will receive tax foreclosed properties that the city will acquire through Wayne County. They will be required to submit specifications for the renovations that will be required for each property. Those specifications will be reviewed and approved by both the Community Development Department as well as the Planning and Building Department. The city will receive an administrative fee for each of the properties, and after the renovations are completed, they will be sold to home buyers for the properties. And the developer agreement or the developer contract will specify all of these items.
Okay. Again, through the chair, so the admin fee, do we have the cost of, or what that will be? And then as far as from the sales, the profit from the sale of the home, so there will be a certain amount of that will come back to us?
The administrative fee that will be paid to the city will be $4,000 for each property. And also each of the developers has to put funds towards another purpose. So for example, perhaps pay for a demolition or support some other program in the city that's ongoing. And the sales proceeds actually will go to the developer.
And then I didn't see this in the packet, so is there a contract that we have with these two companies, and how long will it go for?
The contract is being written as we speak and will be approved by the city attorney's office before it's signed. And the contract will be a 12-month contract, so the developers will have 12 months to renovate the properties and put them up for sale on the private market.
Okay. Thank you. Through the chair to the city attorney, will that contract come back before city council for approval before it's signed?
As the current motion would provide, you're authorizing the execution of that contract at this point. So it would not necessarily, it would not come back to city council.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to postpone this item until we have an opportunity to review the contract and see what, what the contract states and the breakdown of it. I don't feel comfortable voting on it to move it forward without seeing the contract.
So a motion to postpone, is there support?
Support.
Motion postponed by Councilman Hammond, supported by,
I ask for a time, period
Yes.
of time.
postponed until when?
Just until we get the contract back. If it's the next meeting, then put it on the agenda for the next meeting so we can review the contract.
Joanne?
Yes, through the council president, if it might be helpful for the council to know that the developers agreement will be very similar to the developers agreement that we have used previously for the neighborhood stabilization programs. That is both with the building trades program with Wayne Westland Community Schools, as well as the developers agreement that we had when we were in the midst of the neighborhood stabilization program. It will be based on that same format, and that those were approved by the city attorney's office. So if that's helpful for the council to know that, to move forward, I thought that would be useful information for you.
Councilman Johnson?
Thank you. No disrespect to anybody, but like Councilman Hammonds, I would like to see what I'm getting, what I'm voting on prior to just okaying something. It's too late after we've approved the contract without seeing it to go back and visit it. So I would like to see it postponed also.
Councilman Hart?
Through the chair to Joanne, just curious, is there any risk for postponing this contract? It doesn't sound like there is, but maybe you can clarify.
No, there's no risk for postponing.
Councilwoman Green?
Thank you, Council President. For the same reasons that Councilman Hammond said, I think that council should be able to, or actually should, review the contract since we're the body that will be voting on it. I also think that the contract should have been included in the packet that was given to us. We just had a one-page recommendation for voting. So in the future, so that there is no delay, if we can make sure that the packets that we get regarding contracts, if they have the pertinent information in it, we can go ahead and move forward without delay. But I also agree that council should see the contract before we vote on it. Thank you.
Mayor, did you have something else? Oh, okay. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? This is on the motion to postpone. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
No. I thought we put it up for support. We made a motion.
This is on the motion to postpone.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Did you want? Okay.
Councilman Hammonds.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to new business, item 1, approval of UAW Local 174, 2017-2018 collective bargaining agreement wage reopener and UAW Local 174 successor collective bargaining agreement effective July 1, 2018 through December 31, 2022. If approved, the mayor and city clerk will execute on behalf of the city.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilman Landau. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 2, approval of voucher.
Motion by Councilman Hersberg. Is there support? Support by Councilman Landau. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to citizens' comments or requests. Citizens will be recognized at the end of the meeting immediately following the agenda item approval of vouchers. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. All citizens wishing to speak will be heard. Is there anyone on my right? Anyone on my left? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. I received a letter today from Infinity Homes about them tearing down the fence on the property line, the Nankin Middle School project. And I know you guys, I just, try to get this out in the open before you guys get bull rushed with a bunch of people. We just, you read a paragraph, they're gonna remove it, replace it, and you're done read another paragraph, they're just gonna remove it, so if anybody knows, are they gonna remove and replace, or are they just gonna remove it? That's one of my concerns anyway. Does anybody know? If not, we can.
The person that would probably know is Bruce Thompson, and he's not here this evening, so.
Okay.
If you would, just make sure you leave your name and number with the clerk, and we'll make sure that we get the info and give you a call back with the info on
All
it.
right, I greatly appreciate it. I have one other thing. I don't know if I can get through this, but I'm gonna try. On March 30th this year, I had to call 911, and I just have the greatest respect for our fire department and our police department. The paramedics came in. My wife stopped breathing. The paramedics came in. They worked on her for a while, even though the outcome wasn't what I hoped it would be. We have the best damn fire department, paramedics, and police department in the state, if not the country. Their professionalism was bar none the best I've ever seen. Again, I want to thank you guys, Chief. And matter of fact, if I could get the names, I never got the fireman's name, but I did get the officer's name that came. And Officer Smith was he was the best. He helped me get through this. And if I possibly could, I'd like to send letters of thank you to the firemen that were there. If I can, I'll contact you by email or whatever. So again, I thank you guys very much for hearing me out, and I will get a hold of you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone on my right? Mrs. McKinney?
On Facebook was the proposal for Hawthorne Valley, the new subdivision. And I thought that had come in front of the council before it would be placed on in an article like that. And I have problems with that going there. It's supposed to be a combined citizens with, and homeowners with children or family members that have mental or autism problems. And being where it's at and the danger of the traffic there, the water there, the river, the woods there, who's going to be responsible if some of these people get lost and hurt? And that's it.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Right?
I wanted to say good evening. I know we've been having some very hot temperatures, and we're supposed to, when we're a passionate city, I want to see people. Sometimes people might need a phone call. Someone might need to be checked up on. This is a hot heat we don't play around with. I lost a friend 2 years ago, so I know what it's like to drink water, to keep liquids, to keep hydrated. I know there's a lot going on in Westland, knocking on doors and stuff. You ain't going to catch me out there in this hot heat because it's very dangerous. This is something not to laugh at. Making sure people have waters and stuff because it's very important to me. And next Monday, I'm reaching out to the Livonia City Council with this book. I know I already reached it with the mayor's office and the police department with it. People like this book, and that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to keep promoting that. And that is my passion, is about people. Sometimes we need to think about, be thankful, and every time I go to that youth group assistance program, people really listen, and I really like how all these speakers are out there talking about their jail time and me talking about the institution, how I'm living a life today. And I think Paul in Westland and his group are really doing a good job. I want to say thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right?
This is for our city attorney. First, I would like to thank you for how you kept your promise and responded appropriately. So thank you. But and this was verbal, so being a mature adult, it was pretty hard for me to pass this information back to the other residents who have not received any information. So is it possible tonight you can repeat what you told to me about why we have not received an answer from the city? And also, could you put something in writing that I can take back to my community to let them know how you have responded to our requests? Thank you.
Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone else in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Well, thank you, City Council. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight in this 4th of July holiday week. First of all, Council, thank you for moving forward. We had quite a few agenda items tonight as far as purchases for the city, and these were purchases for equipment, various equipments that were approved as part of the budget. So we're going to, now that they've been approved, it'll give us a chance to order them, and a lot of the equipment needs to be outfitted. So this will give us a chance to get it and hopefully use some of it still yet this summer. So we appreciate that. Council, also, I'd like to thank you for your unanimous support tonight for the contract that was ratified with local UAW Local 174 tonight, and their president and vice president and some of their members are in the audience here tonight. They do a great job for us. For those folks at home that don't know what these folks do, these are our supervisors, they're our deputy directors, and they're basically our bosses around the city. So they do a great job for us. This contract was, a couple points in this contract I think are worth noting as we move forward. There was a wage reopener that was settled, and it was settled in a manner of a one-time bonus, is which what you'll start to see the city do more of moving forward, so that these, it'll help us keep our, they don't roll into their final average comp, so it'll help us keep our pension costs down. And also, as part of this plan, the members of this group will be increasing their pre-tax wage contribution for their pensions from 5% to 6%. And at this point, we've got most of the city, from the mayor's office all the way down, that's contributing 5%. So this organization here will help us as we move towards meeting some of our unfunded liabilities. And also, let's see, was there anything else about this one? I think that was it. It was a four and a half year contract, and it represents about 15 general and public work employees. So we appreciate their work. They do a great job for us, and thank you, council. And then just the last couple of things, council, is part of tonight's agenda. We approved several investments for the police department, and I just think it's worth noting that council, I appreciate your support in this budget with the items that were approved tonight. I really think the city of Westland has reinvested in public safety. As part of this budget, there were 4 patrol officers which were previously funded through a federal grant which was expiring. Their salaries now are fully funded moving forward. The budget also allowed for the hiring of 4 new dispatchers, which we're going to share the cost with the other 4 communities that are part of our joint dispatch. We were able tonight, we purchased 3 new police vehicles, which will help us kind of offset some of the wear and tear we're putting on our police vehicles. We also approved the purchase tonight of 35 bulletproof vests for our patrolmen. These need to be replaced every 5 years to ensure the safety of our officers. We also approved some new radios, portable radios to be carried by the officers. And also this agenda tonight included body cameras for all of our officers, which I'm sure we'll be talking more about moving forward. But this is part of the new way of public safety in the city of Westland. We kind of took a slow walk on this, and but we feel comfortable moving forward, and we do think it will lower the city's risk as well. So, council, nice job. A lot of investment in public safety, and I think it's something that our citizens have been asking for, and I think they're gonna appreciate it. Then the last thing is to the residents and council, you probably noticed some road projects happening around town. There's going to be a lot of road construction back in the neighborhoods and around town. This budget, which was recently approved, has about $3 million worth of local road improvements, and that on top of that, we received another $800,000 recently as the state approved their budget. So Ramsey's not here, but I think that he's going to be sitting down with us pretty soon to kind of lay out exactly what their plans are for this year. But you've probably noticed just recently the intersection at Newburgh and Marquette has been totally resurfaced. That had a price tag of about $105,000. There was a couple other spots on Newburgh that were fixed as part of that. For those that live in the Brookfield sub, which is on Cherry Hill and Hicks, we just finished up a joint crack and sealing project of all the concrete roads in that sub. That was about $87,000. And for those that live on Farmington Road, Ford Road to Hunter, we're going to start some concrete repair work there. That's going to have a price tag of about $150,000. And currently, throughout the Tifa district, you've probably seen us replacing a lot of damaged, broke, or missing sidewalks. I think today they were actually outpouring in front of Parkside Dental today. This was funded by Tifa for about $30,000, and as part of the neighborhood makeover program, as we go through neighborhoods, we're identifying trip hazards on our sidewalks, and the budget includes about $135,000 for us to replace the worst of those sidewalks. So there's going to be a lot of repair work being done this summer, and council, we appreciate your support, and we appreciate the residents, their patience as well, and you probably have noticed the orange barrel starting to pop up on Ford Road. That's an MDOT project, which will see the total repavement of Ford Road throughout the whole Westland corridor there. They started at Telegraph, and they're just about to Inkster Road now, and they're moving pretty quick, and they're going to be kind of passing through Westland, unfortunately, during Blues, Brews, and Barbecue weekend, but we planned for it, and so for 3 days, all of the orange barrels are going to disappear, then they'll all be back, so. But once it's finished, it'll look really nice, and it's something that's been needed for a while. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. I think from the city attorney's office.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, I'd just like to restate, at the last council meeting, I was asked to inquire into Mrs. Everett's claims that were submitted for flooding damage to the basement. Those claims were received, and they're at our insurer, MMRMA. Due to some personnel turnover and some vacation time, we don't have an answer yet on those, and I have no problem putting that in writing and sending a letter to you to restate that. So, but I did get a chance to call her back that same week that we had the council meeting, and we had a nice chat, so this just reconfirms that.
Begin council comments with Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. Just real quickly, I'd like to thank the UAW for their efforts in helping the city and what you guys did with not increasing the retirement liability was huge. The other unions have done that. I'm glad that you guys got on board with that too. It's a big help towards the city. Senior picnic at the senior center went great. It was rather hot, but everybody was under the shade tree, so everybody got through it all right. And anybody going up north or traveling this weekend, have a safe holiday and get back home with us. Thanks.
Councilman Londo.
Thanks, President Godbout. I'm going to start off by thanking the gentleman for the kind words towards our public safety departments. I agree wholeheartedly. We have amazing police and fire, and I appreciate you taking the opportunity to thank them and send a letter on your behalf. Appreciate that. And then also, I'll see you after the meeting. I saw the administration reached out to you, but if you have any other issues, please reach out to me. As far as speaking of that same sub, we had some issues at the last council meeting, the Joy Road sub. I was able to go out the next day. Councilwoman Green joined me as well, and I think we were able to get these issues resolved for Mr. Wacker, who was at the last council meeting. And then I've been working with the Neighborhood Services Department on many ordinance complaints in the city. With summertime, it seems like that's one of the main things you're working on is ordinance complaints, tall grass and blight. I just really want to thank the Neighborhood Services Department and the director, Hassan, for dealing with me and working with all these issues that I've had with them. They've been very responsive and taking care of these issues for the residents. I echo the comments from the mayor and Councilman Johnson for the UAW contract. Thank you to the men and women for all you do for our city, and thank you to both your team and the negotiating team from the city for working together to work out a contract that's beneficial to both sides. And with that, have a happy and safe 4th of July holiday weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Councilwoman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start tonight by thanking the young man who came in and led the pledge for us tonight. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your first visit to City Hall. I would also like to advise the community that the Friends of the Library is having another great sale for the month of July. This month, all adult hardcover fiction books will be 25 cents each for the entire month of July. And that is the Friends of the Library at our local library. I'd also like to remind residents, and many of us have spoke about this in the past, but now that we've finally reached July, our new budget has taken effect. So bulk pickup is active and free of charge once again here in the city of Westland. And that's something that myself and the entire council are very pleased to have been able to approve for our residents. So if you have any bulk items to be picked up, please contact the city for further instructions on how to get yourself placed on the list for pickup. I also wanted to just echo the sentiments of the mayor and several of our council people to congratulate the UAW employees on your new contract. I come from a union family and am very pro-employee, and I was also endorsed by the UAW, so I was very proud to vote in your favor and would like to say thank you for the work that you do here in the city. I would also like to just make a quick comment to residents here in Westland. When I decided to run for council, one of the primary reasons is that I wanted to help people. And so, and some of you may be familiar with my story, but after much prayer, I ran for city council, and you know, my desire to help is extremely passionate about standing up for people who have been neglected or who don't have a voice, whether, you know, it's seniors or just anyone, wherever. I'm very much an advocate for standing up for the rights of people. And so I'm very thankful to have made it to City Council. And one of the things that I wanted to let the residents know that my service is actually going to exceed my responsibilities here in the city. On July 27th, last week on Wednesday, I was, which is my mother's birthday, and my mother is here tonight, I was sworn in by our Wayne County Sheriff, Benny Napoleon. If any of you are familiar with Benny Napoleon, I was sworn in to serve as a Wayne County Reserve Sheriff. So I will not only have the ability to serve our citizens here in Westland, but I will also be serving our citizens throughout the county in support of our sheriff department. And also having law enforcement in my family and being a big advocate for law enforcement and, you know, yielding the gap between the police and the community and some of the issues that exist. I look forward to doing that, and I'm very proud of that, to serve. And so I look forward to continuing to help. If there's anything that I can do for anybody here in the city, if you ever need my service, you can reach me on my Councilwoman page on Facebook, Councilwoman Tasha Green. You can reach me via email here at City Hall, tgreen@cityofwestland.com. Or you can reach me via telephone at 734-828-7010. If anybody knows me, they absolutely know if I've had the chance to assist any of you regarding issues in the past, I will absolutely assist with anything that I can do, get it to the appropriate person, and continue to stand on your behalf. So I'm very, very grateful to continue to do that, not only here in our city, but also in the county. And finally, I would like to wish everyone a very happy and safe 4th of July weekend. Thank you.
Councilman Hammonds.
Thank you. I too want to thank the UAW Local 174 for ratifying the contract, and thank you to the bargaining committee for all your hard work and time and effort that you put into it. It's nice to see everybody being able to work together, so thank you. I too want to just say to everybody out there, hopefully you have a happy and safe 4th of July, and be careful out there. That's it for me tonight.
Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Council President. I guess I'll be the fifth in line. Thanks a lot for coming to the table, working with us again. Glad to have you guys here. You're definitely part of all the things that we do positively here in the city, so thanks for being a part of it. So look forward to continuing working over the next 4.5 years, so thank you. Also, I had a great time at the summer party kickoff last week that we put on, had my family there. It was a really good time, had a lot of residents out there, a lot of people braved the heat, myself included, but more so all the administration. MJ, to the mayor, please pass along my deepest gratitude for all the administration and all the employees coming out and working really hard to have that event for all the residents. So it meant a lot. I know they were hot, but they all had smiles on their face. And if they weren't sincere, they made it look sincere. So thank you very much. I also wanted to let you all know that the North American Belgian Beer Festival is returning to Westland on July 13th and 14th. It's the kickoff event for the North American Belgian Beer Week across the United States. If you aren't aware, this is the largest Belgian beer festival in North America, and it happens right here in the All-American city. Ashley's puts this event on, and this is their 8th year of putting this on. And for those of you who are beer aficionados and those of you at home, you know this is kind of a big deal. This is an event where a number of Belgian beers that are never available here in the United States actually find their way in for one special weekend, and it comes right here to Westland. And they even bring in some of the Belgian brewers straight from Belgium. So they're here on site, they're here to have a good time, and here to introduce you to some amazing Belgian beer and Belgian food. So I'm always there, so if you want to meet out there, so just come on out. Now, it does happen during the All-American Cruise. So to ask you, cruise first, then park the car, then come to Belgian Beer Fest, and then Uber it back home. So, but do come out for that. It's a great opportunity, and it's actually one of the occasions we have in the city of Westland as a draw. Last I'll bring up is we think of July 4th, 1776 as the day that represents the Declaration of Independence and the birth of the United States of America as an independent nation. Little trivia for you, but July 4th wasn't the day the Continental Congress declared that we would declare independency. It was actually today, July 2nd. It's a little FYI. But as we celebrate our 242nd anniversary, the defining moment in our nation's founding, many people will take to celebrate with friends and family. I wish you all a wonderful holiday, but I do ask that you be safe and at the same time. Of course, you need to celebrate in accordance with the laws, but you'd also consider what is doing right. Just because you could doesn't always mean you should. And where I'm going at with that is not all fireworks need to be loud and disturbing. Okay, not all fireworks need to be airborne. There are plenty of options that may be safer and far less impacting. With that, I ask you to consider keeping your celebrating to a reasonable level, but consider the following. More pets are lost on the 4th of July than any other day in the year. These are just as much members of our family, our furry little friends, so I ask you to consider all those other family members from other families that might have a pet that might run off. Then you also must remember what goes up must come down. Those who set off airborne fireworks must remember that these are flying explosive ordnance, so they do come down, and sometimes not in your yard, but in your neighbor's yard, your neighbor's car, their roof, their pool, or wherever else they may fall on. Also, working parents and children who need to get up early the following morning, so consider them as you're setting off those fireworks and how late it might impact them. Some of our people and our residents do need to get a good night's sleep, myself included. I have to be back at work really early on Thursday. But last, but certainly not least, our veterans. Many of those around you still hold horrors of a battlefield and live with the notion that they might not survive another night of mortar attacks. If you don't think there are many, consider asking a couple of your veteran friends. Oftentimes, they hold their fears and anxiety inside on the day so as not to worry others. I personally know 2 of them. And one of the greatest things that bother me about the 4th of July is when our men and women who suffer some of this PTSD actually have to spend the 4th of July inside with earplugs on or headphones, and they can't celebrate because it's just too much for them. So while you guys are going to celebrate, and some of you do, I ask everybody at home, just keep it to a dull roar and consider all those others that are affected. With that, have a great 4th of July. Thank you.
Councilman Hersberg.
Thank you. And just to add on to Councilman Hart's comments, I'd like to thank the police chief for allocating a couple officers and being courteous to the residents and responding to some of those calls. Thanks a lot. There's quite a few neighborhoods where the fireworks, they get kind of a lot. Some people on some blocks, there's no fireworks, and then on other blocks, there's every few houses. So if you're in the middle of it, it can be very inconveniencing. And so thanks, chief. And I'll give another plug for the Wayne Road Cruise. This is another great event that brings a lot of people to Westland from other cities. There's similar events in recent years in other cities downriver. I know they've canceled their events because of complaints from the traffic and other things that come along with these events. So I want to thank the council here for once again approving this event, which is July 14th, Saturday, up and down Wayne Road. Other than that, I'd like to express interest in joining or even heading up, if possible, the beautification committee. And I'd like to sit down with you, Mayor, maybe this week if you have time, maybe talk about a couple of things, how we can go about engaging more residents and trying to get involved in some of these boards. And with that, I'll just wish Judy McKinney a happy belated birthday.
I'd like to start by thanking Ryan Larson, the student from Marshall Upper Elementary, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. I too would like to thank the union for their willingness to come to the table and to consider the long-term financial benefit of the city as part of their negotiations. They stepped up back when we were in severe financial crisis and were one of the first unions to come to the table with some of the settlements and concessions, and once again they did again during this negotiation. So again, thank you for all that you guys do. The other thing that I've got is the city lost a long-time resident of the city Pete Borgelt, who is the father-in-law of Craig Welkenbach, passed away on June 29th. Pete was 81. He and Carol, his wife, have been married for 60 years. And, he's got several grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He's been a practicing attorney for 52 years with a firm of Rock and Borgelt. And Pete loved to travel. He was, matter of fact, he had just returned from a trip when he fell ill. One of Pete's favorite sayings was, kick ass and take names. So, and he often shared that with anyone that would listen. So he's going to be at the L.J. Griffin Funeral Home on Middle Belt, just south of Ann Arbor Trail on Thursday from 1 to 8. And he'll be in state Friday, July 6th at St. Mary Cause of Our Joy Catholic Church at 10:30, and the funeral mass is at 11 a.m. And in lieu of flowers, the family's requesting donations be made to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital or the Friends of Michigan Animal Rescue. And it's my condolences go out to the Borgelt family and the Welkenbach family. That's all I have. Is there a motion to adjourn?